I think a lot of people hear Men's Health Clinic and don't really know what to expect. I've talked to a few people who went to game day Men's Health Solon, and they all said the same thing. It wasn't what I thought. It's not awkward. It's not rushed, and nobody's trying to sell you stuff you don't need. Board-certified medical staff actually sit down with you, go through your labs, and explain things like testosterone levels, weight loss, and even ED in a way that makes sense. It's real, straightforward healthcare. If you've ever been curious, game day Men's Health Solon better be your first step. Guys, game 4 tonight, Cleveland Cavaliers, Detroit Pistons. The Cavs won on Saturday, making it a 2-1 series. They need to continue to keep this series alive by winning tonight. Jason G. Jay, when you looked at what happened in game 3, is what the Cavs did to exploit some of Minnesota defensively, Detroit defensively, repeatable tonight in game 4? And how do you see this pivotal game 4 playing out between the Cavs and the Pistons?
Is it repeatable? Sure it is. But when you're talking about playoffs, every game is a specifically different game. And to be truthful, it's like that in playoff basketball. It's like you can come out and you can have a game plan. And I thought the Cavs got off to a pretty good start, but then the Pistons just came right back. And they were able to get the offensive rebounds. They were able to close the gap. I think they were up at 17 at one point. But, you know, what the Cavs have to do is just to continue to do the smaller things, man. It's just, it's not about the scoring. It's not about, it's about the small things, boxing out on rebounds, making sure that you put a body on somebody, understanding who you're supposed to go under the screen over, fighting over screens, making sure your rotations are there, understanding the scouting report. And so, to me, for the Cavs, they made some shots down clutch. James Harden hit 3 straight baskets. Hopefully that gets him going. I hope that gets him. And the thing about him is I just want the turnovers to cut out. So if he can continue to give you that and he can continue to cut his turnovers down.
How many did he have in game 3? Because he still turned it over.
4 or
I
5?
think
it was just, I think it was 3. I'm pulling up right now. Hold on.
Okay.
He had the one in the corner to Jalen Tyson, but that was on Jalen more than it was on James. Game 3 box score, James Harden had 3 turnovers. Him and Mitchell each had 3. They had 6 total.
I could live with
3.
And they had 11 assists, which would have been the issue. They'd been turning the ball over, but they hadn't had an assist.
Yeah.
It's almost a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, 11-6.
As a team, they had a ton of turnovers, though.
Yeah, they did. They were sloppy with it.
15-15 was a turnover battle.
Way too many.
And early, especially, they kept turning the ball.
I thought so too. I thought they cleaned it up as the game went on.
They did.
Gee, you're right. Scoring. I mean, obviously, there's a scoreboard and it only measures points.
Yeah.
So that is the end result of all the hard work. I thought this was the first game where the Cavs' effort and energy and intensity matched the Pistons. Would you guys agree with that?
I believe in the second half, when it was close and it was down to the nitty-gritty, I actually thought they punched a little bit. Max Strus brought that energy. I thought for the first time.
But that's the first time I've seen it in the series.
That's before it was like they come out flat and then the Pistons own the physicality, own the emotions of it, and for the first time it gave the crowd an opportunity to get back into the game, use your home court advantage just like the other teams do.
It almost. I thought when they were up, was it 17 at halftime? 16, 17?
They were up 17 at one point in the first. By halftime, it was a 14-point.
Okay. I don't want to say that the crowd felt complacent, but, sometimes it's blowouts. The fans can be lost in a blowout.
Yeah.
And I almost felt like the energy of the crowd came down as the lead went up because I think they felt like, okay, we've got this. Mm-hmm. But when they needed it in the fourth quarter, the crowd was incredible. The crowd was there. Yep. They definitely made a difference. This was the first time, because we mentioned in the first 2 games, even though they fell down big early, they fought, they brought the game even. They were tied with 5 minutes to go, I think, in both games. And then from that point on, they were outscored by 10 points each time. And when it was close and late this time, I did feel like the crowd was going to be the difference, and I felt like the crowd was the difference. It's funny. When you have 20,000 people rooting for you or 20,000 people rooting against you, that's why the home court edge is so prominent in NBA playoff games, because I felt that crowd late willed James Harden to make a couple of big buckets, and now we've got a series. But they've got to I tell you, I felt our win was a lot more laborious than either of the Pistons' first two. We had to work really, really hard to get it.
Yeah.
And because at no point with a minute to go were we within striking range of the Pistons in games 1 and 2. And that's where you really expel the energy. And I hope it didn't take more out of us than it should have. On paper, I just still look at these rosters and I'm like, God, how did Detroit win the 1 seed? How is Detroit doing this to us in the playoffs? But I think it's energy and effort, Jay.
That's a lot of it. The one thing that has to get cleaned up is the rebounding, the offensive rebounds. The Pistons had 17 offensive rebounds. That is not tenable to allow to give up 17 offensive rebounds and still win the game. Like that part, I don't know if that's repeatable.
And they did a good job of talking about it. Listen, I'm not. They win the game. I'm not here to knock nobody, but there's certain plays where your bigs have to secure those rebounds, man. Like it's too much tipping and fumbling and not securing. It doesn't. Coach used to always say, it don't matter how long you play defense. You bust your tail for 24 seconds to get these possessions. The ball drops off the rim, and you don't fight with everything you got to get the.
Now you got to add time to it.
Now you got to go right back again, and you get another reset of the shot clock. And you know they shoot a lot of long threes, so now you're getting longer rebounds. You might have to chase them. So they have to do a better job, and especially on the foul line. The foul lines, I can understand a long rebound off a 3-point shot, cool. But the rebounding stuff, when you already got inside leverage and they're getting extra shots and hitting through, those are backbreakers.
I mean,
demoralizing.
Donovan was the leading rebounder in Game 3. That should never happen with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Now Evan had 8 rebounds. Jared only had 4. They've got to get more out of the bigs in terms of rebounding.
What are you seeing, Jay? That in Game 2, Mobley had 1 rebound.
1 rebound. And
what are you seeing? Is that effort?
Some of it is he's not in position. Some of it is effort.
Yeah.
Some of it's bad luck. But there's no excuse for it. I mean, Detroit took 17 more shots than the Cavs did in Game 3. And I've talked about this a few times. This is the next thing in the NBA is counting possessions because everybody's taking the same shots from the same places on the floor.
Right.
So where do you get the advantage? Where can you find an advantage? Well, you find the advantage in getting more of them. It's sort of the money ball of baseball. How do we get more shots? How can we create more possessions?
So rebounding
It's
is
turnovers
critical.
and it's offensive rebounds.
Yeah, it's critical.
That's how you create more possessions. And the Pistons have done a nice job of turning the Cavs over in this series, and they're demolishing them in offensive rebounding.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
On that, Jason, real quick, because it is the numbers by themselves are bad, and Mobley with 1 rebound in Game 2 was a number you can't have. Duren only had 4 rebounds last game. Cade Cunningham had 6 offensive rebounds himself. The guards did a better job of rebounding. The guards, and I say that intentionally because one of the reasons I think Mobley and Allen's numbers have been down in the box score is they're trying. Keyword try, because they haven't been successful nearly as much as they should be.
Right.
But they're trying to keep Duren and the bigs off the glass. They're boxing out, and then it's these long rebounds where Duncan Robinson has 3 or 4 offensive rebounds. Cade Cunningham has 6 offensive rebounds in Game 5. I don't think the bigs are getting killed in these one-on-one situations, but it's a team effort to rebound. And, you said the defensive possession doesn't end until you grab that rebound, right? And the Cavs have not done a good enough job through 3 games at ending defensive possessions. But I don't think it's just you could say Mobley's getting punked, Allen's getting punked, when Detroit's bigs aren't grabbing a ton of rebounds either. It's kind of the other guys that are being the difference in the rebounding battle. But this is way too doom and gloom for a Game 4 tonight after they just won Game 3. I don't like the energy that you guys are coming out after.
Well, no, wait a minute. Hold on, Mike. First of all, this is what a Cleveland outsider doesn't get. Okay? You don't understand that as soon as we take a step up, somebody pushes us back to the bottom of the staircase. I don't know if it's in our DNA or if it's learned behavior, but we've been here so many times, we don't allow ourselves to get optimistic because when we do, we get smacked down and it's over.
There's a level. I do have a level of optimism. I think what you're saying, and the way I'm speaking about it is this is playoff difference between playoffs and the difference between regular season. Regular season, whatever, you lose a couple games here or there, whatever. But here's the thing: 2-1 does nothing for you. you know what the series is. It's 2-1.
Right.
This game, if you lose this game, you know what the series looks like.
And G, that's the point. And
Yeah,
that's why
right.
I said earlier, it means nothing if you lose tonight.
You got to finish it off
because
tonight.
literally, if
So we
you
can't
lose
just ignore
tonight,
the fact they won a playoff
No,
game.
no, no.
though.
no,
Like,
I know it doesn't negate that, Mike. But what we're saying is,
Just the pivot.
okay, good on you.
They
nice.
got to do it again tonight.
Nice.
I'm well aware. I'm not throwing
But
a parade, but
it
we're in here
means
like doom
nothing.
and gloom, like they're down 3-0 and it's over.
No, listen. If
It
they
has
were
been-
down 3-0, we would have been
would've been-
hot out of this box.
There have been 3 games this series.
Yeah.
3 games.
Yeah.
In all 3 games, it has been tied in the fourth quarter,
Yep.
and the home team's gone on a nice little run to end the game, right?
Correct.
It's not like they got blown out in game 1.
Tie game
It's
with
not like
5
they got
minutes
blown
left.
out in game 2.
Right.
It's not like they blew out Detroit in game 3. All 3 games have come down to the last couple minutes.
Right.
It sounds like you guys make it seem like they've been destroyed throughout the series, and there's no reason to believe they can't win tonight.
Not destroyed, but it hasn't played out the way
It-
I thought it would. I felt like close and late with the star power on this roster and the playoff experience on this roster that we would not blink. And we got it even with 5 minutes in both games and got outscored by 10 in both games because we didn't blink. We went into a coma. And so there was very little to be excited about. And we let a 17-point lead slip away in game 3.
Detroit let an 18-point lead in game 1 slip away.
No, but they didn't because they closed the deal. They won the game.
The Cavs won game 3.
Yes, but we closed that deal. Okay? So if you're up 17, your thinking is, and let me tell you, what the Knicks are going to do for the next week, they're in their hammock.
Listen, the Knicks, I can't
And
miss
so
right now. They're playing
at
out of this
some
world.
point, you would like a game where you don't have to keep your foot on the accelerator until the horn blows.
They're not going to get that. The
It
rest of the
doesn't
way.
feel like it.
But-
It feels like if they win, it's going to be close and late
But I
every
didn't.
time.
I mean, I'd pick the Cavs in 7
I'm-
in this series.
that's my pick, too.
This series has gone about how I thought it would.
So
where
far,
it's
it's
gonna
gone- yes.
It's going to be. They're going to be close games. It's going to be a hard-fought series. You better take care of home, and you better steal one on the road.
That's it.
And the bench players are going to play better at home. We all know that, and the role players play better. That's been the
Sure.
theory for years in the NBA, and it's played out for the Cavs in this as well.
So to me, they're going to be judged on whether or not, you got to winning at home is a prerequisite. See, the Cavs don't have home court advantage in this series. I think people keep thinking like, oh, no, this ain't the first round. They don't have home court advantage. So the prerequisite is you better win your games at home. And the referendum will be on, can Donovan Mitchell and James Harden win a game in Detroit? If they do not win a game in Detroit, they're not going to win the season. They're going to win the series. So
it's impossible for them to win.
So the thought process is, this is great. What I would like to see them do in this game is if they are able to get up, I want the Cavs to be able to put doubt in the Pistons' mind. The Pistons think,
How do you do that? You got win by 30.
yeah, you go out and you say, okay, you guys beat us 2 games, but we was up 17, and then we put it on you, and then you put the pressure on JB. Because JB, I want to see you do it in crunch time. I want to see you do it in closeout games. Yeah. Hey, anybody besides Cade Cunningham, come on out here and let's see if you can do that in 7 games. And you got to put a little doubt in their mind, like, hold on, maybe we not that good. Maybe, we really dominated the first couple of games, and it just seems like they've been like they've been in those games.
Right.
Like you said, they have been getting blown out. So you want to get in, and they don't have very much playoff experience to me. But the thing is, I would like to see them to go out today, start fast, execute, and drink some Kool-Aid on the sideline at 25.
Well, here's the positivity Mike's looking for. Harden was great in the fourth quarter.
He was great.
And he was not in one. He looked unplayable after
To
game
me,
2.
Jay, I think the worst thing you can say about a player is that they were loafing. But I just saw a level of disengagement with him in Detroit that I didn't think he was going to be able to overcome. I just felt like, wow, this guy's disinterested. He doesn't want to be here.
I think,
But I didn't see that in game 3.
it's I think his demeanor.
I know that people have told me that. That's how he is.
He just stays like
I
this,
know.
and it's like this all the time.
Yeah.
So when it's not going well for him, it looks like he doesn't care. That's just who he is.
No, I mean,
he was the same way after Game 3 where he played incredible down the stretch as he was after Game 2. Like, it did not change an ounce.
You were looking at me like, well, wait a minute. We were in all these games. I think here's my point. The point that I'm trying to make, okay? Detroit can say they were in all 3 games, and here's why. With 30 seconds to go, they either had 10-point leads twice or were down by 1.
Right.
So they're in all 3 games. We were not. We were in Game 3. There were moments that we were in the game with 5 minutes to go. Both times we brought it even. And then it's like, okay, the joke in the NBA is, well, let me know when there's 3 minutes to go, and I'll turn on the game. Well, when it got to that point in Games 1 and 2, the Pistons blew the Cavs off the floor both times. So I can't sit here and say, yeah, the Cavs were in Games 1 and 2 all the way to the end. They weren't.
They were.
They weren't, Mike. With 5 minutes to go, it was tied. And with 1 minute to go in both, it was a 10-point lead.
The Cavs had 3, I think it was 3. Mobley missed one in the corner. Donovan missed one.
No, now you're going to break down like could'ves and should'ves. I'm not going there.
They generated wide open threes that would have tied the game with 3 minutes to go in Game 2.
Would've.
How do you say they're not in the game?
They're not. They're down 10 with a minute to go in both games.
And then the Cavs they won by 9.
Some would argue Mobley is
Or
open.
7.
Cavs won by 7. But here's the
So you're
thing,
arguing
Mike.
because a 10-point win is different than a 7-point win?
Yes, because here's the thing. With 25 seconds to go, it was a 1-point game.
And the Cavs forced Cade Cunningham to 3 straight turnovers down the
Wonderful.
stretch. And James Harden scored 3
guess
straight
what that
buckets down
means?
They could not have
That means
executed
for
better.
one of the 3 games, we stood up in the last minute.
The Cavs had the lead in Game 2 with under 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm just saying, how
a 1-point lead, and guess what? They lost by 10.
How are we?
You're making my point.
How are we parsing out what the difference of
Mike, you're making my point.
the games went exactly the same, just the home team flipped. The Cavs were
The
up
games
big
went
in Game
exactly
3.
the same. So in Game 3, the Pistons were down 1 with 25 seconds to go. Were we there in 1 and 2?
I
No.
don't believe in Game 3 the Pistons were up 1 with 25 seconds.
No, I said we were. We were up 1 with 25 seconds to go in Game 3.
I don't think that's accurate.
Look it up.
I'm looking it up right now because James Harden scored 3 buckets in a row to seal a deal.
I know he did.
Let's see.
They was
Look it
down.
up.
They was down. Now that I think about it, because somebody hit a 3.
Cade Cunningham hit a 3.
Somebody hit a 3 and we was down 1, and they came back and scored.
I think we're
It
getting
was
way too
with
into
25 seconds to go. The Cavs were up 6 points.
Hold on.
James Harden
Hold on.
hit a 3-point
Hold
play
on.
to make it 113-108 with 25.9 seconds to play.
Before that.
Yeah, right before that, what was the score?
It was 108-110. So
Which is how many points?
Game. 2.
How much time left?
Not a 1-point game.
How
That
much
was
time left?
50 seconds.
Okay, Mike, here's what I'm saying that you're not getting.
If we're arguing specifics, then you got to be right on your specifics.
Mike, no, listen.
you
Here's
can't
what
say
I'm
it's a
saying.
1-point game. It was literally never a 1-point game.
Let me ask you this. At any point in the final 2 minutes of games 1 and 2, was it a 1-point possession? A 1-possession game?
I do not believe it was.
Okay, that's my point.
But
it
we're
was
arguing
still-
like semantics of this.
No, Mike, when you're tied with
the
5
Pistons blew
minutes
an
to go.
18-point lead, and the Cavs blew a 17-point lead, and then the home team made
No,
more shots
yeah,
on the
but
stretch.
now you're talking first half, and that's fine.
I'm saying
That's
the
fine,
game
Mike.
flow went exactly
But
the same in all
what I'm
3
saying
games.
is, with 5 minutes to go in 1 and 2, we're there. We're in it. With 1 minute to go in both of those games, it was over. Game 3 with a minute to go was not over.
The Cavs had 2 shots. I'm pulling up the exact time so I make sure I get
Yes,
this
because
exactly right.
I want to go there too.
But
because
in Game 2, and I'm pulling up the tracker right now. Give me 1 sec while this loads. In Game 2, it was under 4 minutes to go. It was 91-94. Evan Mobley missed a wide open 3.
right, okay, now there's 4
right there,
minutes to go. Let's go to 2 minutes to go and then 1 minute to go.
Yeah, well, they didn't get
Because you're
close.
making my point, Mike. My point
you're
is, you can get it close with 5 minutes to go. That's where I start to judge you.
Yeah,
Close and
clutch-
late,
in
what are
clutch
you
time,
going to
which
do?
The Cavs have
So
not
you're
been
saying-
great in the
And the
clutch time this
Pistons
postseason.
went up and the Cavs went down in both
okay,
games.
would you agree?
Both times.
I guess what he's saying is, when it comes to in-game execution, the Pistons have been better.
Yes, late. Close and late.
Close and
They
late.
were better in games
They're
1 and 2, and the Cavs
Yeah.
were
No
better in Game
question.
3.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
can all agree on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Now,
there
what
it
I'm
is.
saying is, and what I'd love to see, and I hope we do in Game 4, first of all, I'll take a half-point win if we could get it. But I would love to see if we could somehow in Game 4 not have to play up until the horn.
And you
Like, I'm watching playoff teams. I watched the Knicks absolutely dismantle a team that knocked out the Celtics.
I don't think anyone's going to argue we'd rather win by 30 tonight
Yes.
than by 3.
Yes.
If that's where we got to find common ground, Jay, let's go win by 30.
McNuggets,
Yes.
Let's win by
Boom.
for your
Here,
anniversary show.
Really, more than
let's win by
that,
40.
more than that, let's just outplay them definitively like they did us in games 1 and 2 in the last 5 minutes. Let's do that to them. Definitively outplay them, so it's not a one-possession game with 30 seconds to go.
McNuggets, can you
I'll sign up for that.
Can you show me the Harden highlights at the end?
Yes. Steve,
because-
take 407. It's the first 3 plays.
because
Mike, with 50 seconds to go, it was 110-109.
Game 3?
Game 3, 50 seconds. Cade Cunningham makes 3-point pull-up, 110 Cavs, 109 Pistons.
I'm going to pull this up on our new monitor.
Call it
I
up.
think it says 108, just a heads up.
Well,
It doesn't matter.
Well,
it's a one-possession
what-
game.
Here,
No, it was 110-109 with 50 seconds to go, Mike.
What I'm trying to show you is the thing that you can hang your hat on and say to yourself, this is something that you can be positive about. The 2-3 games prior to this, James Harden was not doing this. If you look at this play right here, he's not dribbling in one spot. He's not doing a bunch of that. What he actually is doing is he's getting to a spot and he's actually pulling up. His mid-range game, he showed you all 3. He showed you the floater. He showed you the in-out. He gets to the elbow, shoots the jumper. He hits the step back. I think he was more decisive. I think he was more. He had his mind set up that, hey, I'm gonna get to this spot and I'm gonna raise up. And I think that's gonna be important because he wasn't looking to be aggressive off these plays in the prior places, and he was just dribbling in one spot. I think if he still can able to have the pull-up jumper, I think that's another asset that he could use in this game.